Welcome everybody, this is Partners in Conversation, and my guest today is Chief Monte Davis from the Indiana University Police Department, Northwest Campus. We are talking today about police and the community, and we have a few questions for Chief Davis. Good morning, Chief Davis.
Good morning, how are you?
Thank you so much for accepting this interview. We are really delighted to have you.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure is mine.
So the title for this set of questions is Police and the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously what prompted this series of interviews is the fact that we now have several cases documented of police brutality, which obviously have started a new wave of social movements, or at least these social movements are now more visible to everybody in our communities. So we believe that engaging with community partners is very important, and you as a member of the university and a member of the community provide an important contribution to this program. So first of all, we want to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought to your career in policing. How did you become interested in this type of career?
Yeah, sure. So I think it all started back with my father, who is a Gary firefighter. He's been in his position for approximately 23 years. So even though it's a little different from policing, he still wear a uniform and he still served the community. And I think that structure and just seeing that uniform in the house for all of my childhood really made a great impression on me on how I wanted to serve the community. Um, with that being said, I wanted to do something a little different than my father as well. I didn't want to carry on in his name and his career. I wanted my own path to make my own impression on the community. And that's when I chose law enforcement, in which I started at the Lake County Sheriff Department in Corrections. I spent about 2 years there, and that was a great experience. And I think the biggest thing that I took away from that experience was being able to communicate to people from various walks of life, regardless of gender or race. It all boiled down to respect and how you can calmly talk to people and de-escalate a lot of different incidents that started to occur. And I think that was the biggest thing that I took away from that profession. After that, I was fortunate enough to be selected by the Gary Police Department. And it's a funny story on how that came about. I was working with some friends at the Lake County Sheriff Department, and they had been trying to get on the police department for like 5 and 6 years. And they were saying how difficult it was and to be selected by a police department, and pretty much saying that how the written test was extremely difficult to pass to get on the police department. So I got a little curious and I wanted to see for myself. And so I decided to go take the test, which I scored at 88 on my first test. And 2 months later, I was just fortunate to be selected by the Gary Police Department, where I then went to the academy. After that, I served at the Gary Police Department for about 6 years. I was very fortunate to receive a lot of good training and kind of move up there pretty fast. Within 2 years, I had already became like a field training officer, a negotiator, a SWAT member, CIT officer, which is Crisis Intervention Team, instructor for the academy, and just received so many different accolades and certifications through that process. I think about around the 6th year, I was looking for something a little different, I think, and just wanted to move in a different way. And at that time, I was very fortunate because I had been working with the previous chief, Wayne James, on the Gary SWAT team for the last several years. And so we had a really good relationship, and just also growing up together, going to Roosevelt High School and things like that in the city here. I'm born and raised in Gary, Indiana. And so, like I say, I had a great relationship with Wayne. I had a great relationship with the community just from growing up here and serving as a Gary police officer for 6 years. And he reached out to me at just a great time. I think it was all about timing at that time. And he told me his plans to expand IU Northwest Division, and he had some really grandiose ideas. And I didn't really know how we were going to get there at the time, but I can honestly say that we accomplished everything that we set out to do in our tenure here together. So like I said, I think it was just great timing. I started in patrol here. I moved up the ranks to sergeant, then lieutenant, then captain, and now chief of police, where I currently serve.
And we are so fortunate to have you as a chief. We're really lucky at IUN, and your story is truly inspiring. So public safety is really a family business.
Yes, it is. And like I say, I think this career chose me more than I chose the career. So I'm just very fortunate, that I had the opportunity to serve with so many different great officers throughout my career, starting at Lake County Sheriff Department.
That is wonderful. So just continuing our conversation, let me ask you, what is your perspective on the current scenario and the unrest that demands action against police brutality?
My perspective is I totally understand. I totally understand the unrest. I understand the outrage by the public, by the communities, by the country, and it is certainly warranted. Do I agree with violent protests and things like that? Absolutely not. But I do understand the civil unrest, and I totally support the peaceful protests. And the great thing about this incident is, if you look around at these peaceful protests, you have people from all walks of life. So they're all in agreement with the issues that we're facing right now. And I certainly support that. I support the freedom of speech. I support peaceful protests. And you just understand, sometimes you're a little torn because you do know there's a lot of great officers out there. And sometimes I think sometimes we get lumped all in that same category at times. But I think it's important that we continue to communicate with the community and understand that, every cop is not a bad cop. Every cop do not condone brutality. And so now it's up to the good cops out here to really speak up on this matter. This is not a time to be silent. This is a time to stand up and say, I stand with my community on these matters. And we will not tolerate any type of police brutality.
I think most of us agree with you that there are wonderful police officers around in our communities, and not all of them would engage even minimally in police brutality. So do you think there is a problem with the police culture, or this is actually the result of having just a few bad apples in police forces?
Honestly, I think it's a little of both. I think overall, the culture, we need to be able to change and adapt to the current times. We cannot still have that old mentality where, we're just silent about these matters and covering for any police that decide to do bad things. So I think it's a little bit of both. We need to make sure that, like I always tell the officers here, that adaptability is very important. We have to be able to adapt to the current times. These times are changing. We're in an era of social media. Everything is being recorded, and rightfully so, because it has shed a light on a lot of disturbing issues that I think we're facing. And so, is it a few bad apples? I think it's more than a few bad apples, but I still believe that the majority of police are out there really trying to do the right thing. But we have issues, and we have to be able to weed out those bad cops. We have to be able to stand up for what is right, and stand up for what we took an oath for, and that's to protect and serve our community.
And so that leads to our next question that refers to the community police relations. So you say we need to hold police officers accountable, and also the honest cops need to speak up. To protect the police department in the community. So what else can we do to improve community police relations in the United States?
Honestly, I think it's really starts with just conversation. I think that's the most important thing, and sometimes it's very difficult just to get to into that circle of conversating. And so that's why I've been very fortunate to work with like the Urban League and sit on different diversity symposiums and address the elephant in the room and really talk about the issues that our communities face, whether it be police brutality, whether it be social injustice, systemic injustice. I think it's important that we really get out there and in those circles and really tell our story. Do not allow others to control our narrative. We have to stand up for what is right, and the community need to see that we totally agree. There should never be an incident of police brutality, of prejudice, of racism, of discrimination. We totally agree, and we have to stand on that together. And the only way to do that is to stand together, not just police or community, but all together. Until we can really have those difficult conversations and respect one another's perspective, whether we agree to disagree. Because one thing that I found out on these symposiums is a lot of people may not understand like the training, what police are trained to do, or the policies they have to abide by. And once we have those conversations and we talk things out, and you can see that the wheels start turning and they start to understand, why police do what they do. But once again, I think communication is key, just like with anything. And until we can come together and respect one another's opinion and perspective, we won't be able to move forward. Uh, we have to understand that we need the community as well as, the community needing police. We need each other. We have to work together. We cannot do it alone. This is not a police problem. This is not a community problem. This is our problem together that we have to solve together.
And I like this view because you see the police department and each individual officer as a member of the community. So this idea of considering community police relations is maybe a bit old. So we're all part of the same community.
We are. We are all serving together. This is our community. Mm-hmm. We're here to serve and protect, and we should serve as one another's resource more than anything. We are a resource to the community, and and vice versa. The community has been a great resource to the police department. Because one thing that we all should be working for is that common goal is peace and respect.
Mm-hmm. This is wonderful. It's wonderful to hear your words. We know that Indiana University Northwest plays a major role in the Northwest Indiana community. And I hope that we can develop programs that could help change the culture and promote this integration and equity across all different spheres of life, not just public safety. So what are some programs that you would recommend that we offer at IUN?
As far as programs, one thing that we offer is the Citizen Academy. Mm-hmm. And I think that gives a great opportunity for our citizens to come in and work with the police and see how we train, where we have actual instructors go over presentations, and we talk about law, we talk about community, we talk about procedural justice, we talk about fair and impartial policing, we talk about mental health, first aid, and so it gives the opportunity for those difficult conversations. And those are the things that we have to have in place. We have to have the circles in order to have these conversations and work together. There's a lot of different other things that we can do to integrate ourselves in the community. I think we need to do a little better outreach, honestly, within the community. We need to have more programs for them. I would love to see more scholarships available for them, and just certain things like that. But we can do better. We can improve, and I'm hopeful that we will get there.
This sounds very promising, and I'm glad to hear that I'm glad to convey the message to the community that there are wonderful things happening in Gary, and many people don't know how resourceful the Gary community actually is. Is there anything that you would like to say as a closing thoughts for this interview as we talk to our community?
Yes, thank you once again for allowing me to interview with you on these pressing issues. These are very critical and important topics that we have to continue to talk about and communicate because, like I said, this is the only way that we can come together and really gather different perspectives. One thing that I do love to do is talk to the community. I love talking to our students. These are our future politicians, our future leaders, our future presidents of America, you know. And so I think it's great to get their perspective because sometimes, you know, they have really good insight and ideas on how they want to be policed. You know, I think a lot of times police don't ask that question to people. How do you want to be policed? And I think it really just boils down to respect. People want to be respected, you know. And so I just want to thank you once again for allowing me to speak with you. This is great communication. I hope we can continue in every aspect. And I just want to let our students know, our faculty and staff, that we are here for them. We are here to protect and serve them in every aspect. And I'm so glad with the future of our police department because right now I believe that we are a leading candidate on what professionalism is. If you look at our training, such as ICAT, which is integrating communications, assessment, and tactics, and our other trainings that is geared around de-escalation, I think we're really becoming a beacon of training and professionalism as it relates to what a police department should look like. And so with that being said, I look forward to talking with our students more. I look forward to talking with faculty and staff more. Your conversation and your ideas are warranted and appreciated and valued.
Thank you so much, Chief. And I have to say, I feel really honored to have had the opportunity to interview you. And I know that all the people listening to us feel the same. So thank you so much, Chief. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Monica. You take care.
You take care too.